Over the span of 25 years in 19th-century Pennsylvania, 5 different women became the wives of the wealthy industrialist Jeremiah Hartwell. Each one arrived at his imposing mansion on Beacon Hill as a vibrant, sharp-minded, and healthy young bride. Yet, one after another, all 5 suffered the very same terrifying destiny: a total mental collapse within mere months of moving into the master bedroom suite. The pattern was so precise, so unrelenting, that when the full truth finally surfaced in 1835, it stunned not only Millbrook County, but the whole state of Pennsylvania. What investigators uncovered was no mere accident or ancient family curse. It was something infinitely darker, a calculated plot that had been eroding women's sanity for decades. Tonight, we reveal the chilling reality of what truly took place inside that mansion, and how one man methodically pushed 5 wives into insanity using techniques so deliberate they still send shivers down the spine today. Before we dive deeper into the tale of Jeremiah Hartwell and his doomed brides, be sure to subscribe to the channel and drop a comment telling us which state you're watching from. You might be shocked to learn just how near these grim events unfolded to where you live. The story that would rattle Pennsylvania began in the thriving town of Millbrook, tucked into the coal-rich valleys southwest of Pittsburgh. By 1820, the Industrial Revolution had turned this once sleepy farming village into a booming hub of industry, with factories spewing smoke along the Monongahela River and newly rich families erecting lavish estates on the nearby hills. Jeremiah Hartwell came to Millbrook in 1821, a driven 25-year-old with a sharp instinct for profit. Unlike most industrialists of the time who inherited their fortunes, Hartwell had fought his way up from humble roots in rural Ohio. His blacksmith father had taught him early that success demanded both cunning and ruthless resolve. In just 5 years, he founded the Hartwell Iron Works, focusing on railroad parts desperately needed as America pushed westward. The Hartwell Mansion, finished in 1828, stood as proof of his meteoric ascent. Perched atop Beacon Hill with views over the town, the 3-story Georgian masterpiece featured 42 rooms, imported marble, and sprawling manicured gardens. Townsfolk admired its splendor, especially the master bedroom suite that claimed the entire east wing of the 2nd floor. Hartwell spared no cost on its fittings: hand-painted wallpaper imported from France, a towering 4-poster bed of Pennsylvania cherrywood, and tall windows framing sweeping valley vistas. What truly set Hartwell apart, however, was his magnetic presence. Over 6 feet tall, with striking blue eyes and prematurely silver hair, he commanded attention from rivals and society alike. Local matrons vied to host him, and eligible daughters of prominent families felt inexplicably pulled toward his refined charm and evident wealth. Hartwell knew precisely how to make anyone feel like the center of his world. This blend of fortune, charisma, and status made him Western Pennsylvania's most desirable bachelor. When he announced his engagement to 19-year-old Margaret Dunlap, daughter of a respected judge, the town rejoiced at what seemed a flawless union. Their October 1829 wedding was hailed by the Millbrook Gazette as the social highlight of the decade, drawing over 300 guests to an extravagant ceremony at St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church. Margaret Hartwell's decline began subtly, almost invisibly, in the spring after the wedding. At first, the shifts appeared to be ordinary adjustments for a young bride settling into marriage. Known for her lively wit and sparkling conversation, she now seemed distracted at gatherings, often gazing out windows with an unsettling focus that unsettled visitors. Her sister Catherine later wrote privately that Margaret had started speaking of the house, as though it were alive and observing her. She would pause mid-sentence and glance toward empty doorways, Catherine noted, as if hearing her name called. When pressed, Margaret would offer that odd smile and reply, "Just the house settling, dear sister." Old homes speak their own language. By summer, her actions grew unmistakably strange. She refused to sleep anywhere but the master bedroom, insisting the house felt wrong otherwise. The staff, once charmed by her kindness, became uneasy as she developed what they quietly termed the watching habit. Standing at the bedroom windows for hours, not gazing at the gardens or town, but studying her own reflection intently, tilting her head as if examining herself from every angle. The crisis arrived on a sweltering August evening in 1830. While hosting Pittsburgh businessmen for dinner, Margaret abruptly rose mid-course, walked to the dining room's large mirror, and launched into a vivid conversation with her image. Guests sat frozen as she gestured wildly, laughed in a shrill, unfamiliar tone, and seemed to argue with the glass. She kept asking why she looked so wary, one guest later recorded. Worse, she paused as though waiting for replies from the reflection. When Jeremiah gently tried to lead her away, she grew upset, insisting she wasn't done speaking. That same night, according to head housekeeper Sarah Quinn, Margaret was discovered at 3 a.m. in the master bedroom, naked, tearing the French wallpaper from the walls strip by strip. When confronted, she smiled serenely and said she needed to see what lay beneath. The exposed walls showed only ordinary plaster and lath. Yet Margaret appeared satisfied, as if she'd revealed some vital truth. Family physician Dr. Harrison Henley was called the next morning. He found a physically healthy 20-year-old suffering what he called severe nervous exhaustion with obsessive melancholia. In notes later used as evidence, he observed, "Mrs. Hartwell displays an unusual preoccupation with mirrors and reflective surfaces, convinced her reflection is somehow distinct from herself. Most alarming is her firm belief that this other self imparts knowledge about the house and its past." Within 2 weeks, Margaret needed constant watching. She believed every mirror in the house held messages only she could read, and spent her days moving between them, holding elaborate talks with what she called the other Margarets. When relatives covered the mirrors, she scratched at the fabric until her fingers bled. The final episode came on September 15, 1830. Somehow, Margaret gathered every mirror, polished silver, and reflective object in the mansion into the master bedroom, arranging them in an intricate circle. She spent the night, per the housekeeper, in conference with her other selves. By dawn, she no longer recognized anyone, not even her husband, and spoke only to the reflections, calling them her true family. After consulting Philadelphia specialists, Dr. Henley recommended commitment to the Pennsylvania Hospital for the Insane. On a bleak October morning, amid swirling autumn leaves, Margaret was taken away in a closed carriage, still calling back, "I'll return soon." She spent the next 43 years institutionalized, never regaining sanity, forever seeking mirrors in her confined space. Margaret's commitment rocked Millbrook's elite, exposing 1830s attitudes toward female mental illness. Some whispered of inherited madness or moral weakness. Most rallied around Jeremiah, casting him as a tragic husband struck by misfortune beyond his control. Contemporary medicine blamed women's breakdowns on everything from too much reading to disrupted domestic roles. Dr. Henley's official report cited overstimulation from sudden social elevation and household duties, fitting neatly with views of women's fragile nature. For 3 years, Jeremiah lived as a withdrawn widower, tending his business but shunning society. The master bedroom was sealed, furniture shrouded, and he relocated to a smaller third-floor room. Staff noted he spent evenings in his study poring over medical texts and letters from physicians about his wife's condition. He grew obsessed with what he termed the science of mental affliction, amassing books on phrenology and European nervous disorder theories. Journals later discovered show a man deeply haunted, seeking rational answers for her collapse. In 1833, word came that Margaret had died in the asylum, her final years marked by physical decline. The small private funeral buried her in the Hartwell plot under a stone reading only her name, dates, and beloved wife at peace. Her death seemed to close a painful chapter. Yet those closest noticed subtle, profound changes in Jeremiah. Colleagues observed his newfound fixation on personal appearance, demanding mirrors in his office be polished twice daily, and frequently checking his reflection during meetings, as if confirming he appeared normal. More telling, he began discussing remarriage in coldly practical terms, assessing prospective brides with the same calculated precision he applied to business deals. In this period, he met 22-year-old Elena Rodriguez, daughter of a Spanish merchant newly tied to Pittsburgh industry. Her rare blend of beauty and intellect intrigued him, but what truly impressed was what he called her exceptional mental strength. Their spring 1834 engagement surprised society, which had assumed he'd remain single. Yet observers noted Jeremiah's charm and confidence had returned. Elena appeared thrilled to become mistress of the grand Beacon Hill estate. Their June 1834 wedding was quieter than the first, but still elegant. As Elena settled in, Jeremiah made a notable choice. He reopened the master bedroom, fully redecorating it with fresh wallpaper, new furnishings, and, most significantly, an entirely new set of mirrors. Elena embraced her role with warmth and poise, proudly showing visitors the master suite and its gleaming mirrors. She especially loved the large vanity, where she'd sit mornings and evenings brushing her dark hair while chatting cheerfully with her maid. For the first 6 months, Elena flourished, quickly beloved for her intelligence, warmth, and hosting skill. Unlike the reserved Margaret, Elena's natural confidence made her perfect for Jeremiah's business entertaining. But by winter 1834-35, close confidence noticed faint shifts. Early signs mirrored Margaret's, though staff had been forbidden to mention the prior mistress's illness. Elena's maid Maria Santos, who had come with her from her father's home, kept a secret diary that later became vital evidence. Setiora Elena now spends far longer at her vanity. Maria wrote in February. This morning she brushed her hair nearly 2 hours. I yet stared not at herself but slightly beside her reflection, as if someone else stood in the glass. When I asked if she needed anything, she replied, "She's trying to tell me something vital. I must listen." By March, Elena spoke of mirror conversations. Distinct, she insisted, from talking to herself. She would sit before various mirrors and hold apparent dialogues, pausing for unheard replies. Unlike Margaret's frantic exchanges, Elena's seemed friendly and helpful. "She tells me things about the house I never knew," Elena confided, "about former families, secrets in the walls. She also gives excellent advice on managing staff." Dr. Henley, still the family doctor, grew alarmed at the parallels. Yet Elena's symptoms differed. She remained rational and functional everywhere except with mirrors. The turning point came in April 1835, when Elena told staff she'd learned something crucial from the mirror woman. The previous Mrs. Hartwell, she claimed, remained trapped in the reflections, trying to warn future wives about truths hidden behind the walls. By summer, Elena's behavior could no longer be concealed. She refused social events without mirrors to consult her advisor. The crisis peaked in August 1835, when she told Jeremiah she now knew something that would upend their marriage and his standing. On a suffocating August night, Jeremiah found Elena seated motionless before the vanity, staring sadly at her reflection. "She has shown me the truth about this house," Elena said quietly. About what you do to women who live in this room. Why Margaret truly lost her mind. According to Jeremiah's journal, Elena then leveled stunning accusations, hidden passages, secret rooms holding unwilling captives, medical experiments on women. Most shocking, she claimed Jeremiah had been drugging his wives with substances causing hallucinations and confusion. "The headache medicine you give me," she confronted him, "isn't medicine at all. She showed me what it truly does, how it makes women see things that aren't there, makes them seem mad to the world." Jeremiah responded quickly, consulting Dr. Henley the next day about Elena's paranoid delusions. Yet Elena fought back. Over the following days, she launched her own search for the passages the Mirror Woman described. Enlisting Maria and other staff, their efforts paid off. Behind a wardrobe, they found a hollow panel opening to a narrow passage with peepholes into bedrooms. "The Mirror Woman was right," Elena declared. "If this is real, everything else is too." Word spread rapidly through Millbrook gossip. Jeremiah faced questions he couldn't answer. Why didn't he know about the passages? What was their purpose? And how to explain two wives suffering nearly identical breakdowns in the same room? Pressure mounted when Elena's father, Don Carlos Rodriguez, arrived unannounced from Pittsburgh. A shrewd merchant, he refused easy explanations. Just when the nightmare seemed complete, the terror inside the Hartwell mansion deepened. If this tale is chilling you, share the video with a friend who loves dark history. Smash that like button to help the channel. And subscribe so you never miss stories like these. Let's see what unfolds next as the truth about Five Wives madness finally breaks through. The showdown between Don Carlos and Jeremiah unfolded in the mirrorless library. Elena insisted on attending, demanding a hand mirror for guidance. Denied, she grew agitated. Don Carlos, rather than dismissing her, probed deeper. "Tell me precisely what this Mirror Woman has revealed about past occupants." Elena's answers stunned everyone. Accurate details of the mansion's original owner. Architectural secrets predating Jeremiah, even private business dealings she should never have known. As she spoke, a pattern emerged. The mansion had been chosen for its spy passages. Jeremiah's success built on covert eavesdropping. His marriage's mere cover for illicit intelligence gathering. Dr. Henley arrived, intending to assess Elena's fitness for commitment. Instead, Don Carlos turned the meeting into an inquiry. Could two healthy women develop identical symptoms in the same place for natural reasons? Henley conceded environmental factors or substances might produce such effects, hinting at possible artificial induction. Elena, denied mirrors, grew frantic yet revealed more hidden knowledge. Suddenly she announced the Mirror Woman had shown her where proof lay. Leading them to the master bedroom wardrobe, she revealed a concealed compartment packed with documents. Under lamplight, the papers exposed decades of secrets, ledgers of overheard conversations used for blackmail and business advantage, correspondence with a German doctor detailing drugs to induce controlled insanity in women, substances that preserved outward rationality while breeding specific, discrediting delusions, especially around mirrors. Elena's headache medicine contained these compounds. Margaret had been poisoned after stumbling onto Jeremiah's surveillance, her warnings dismissed as madness. The documents further revealed Jeremiah ran a private espionage network for Pennsylvania's elite, using the mansion's hidden system to gather compromising material. Don Carlos acted decisively. Elena would leave that night with the evidence. Dr. Henley, facing his own complicity, agreed her condition should reverse once toxins cleared. Jeremiah claimed the papers were Elena's forgeries. Don Carlos countered by demanding chemical analysis of the medicines and handwriting verification. Then head housekeeper Sarah Quinn stepped forward. "I can't stay silent anymore. I've watched 2 fine women ruined in this house." She confirmed preparing the medicines from unmarked bottles, witnessing the spying, and recognizing the identical pattern in both wives. Even as evidence piled up, Jeremiah offered a limited confession, admitting surveillance as legitimate business intelligence, while denying poisoning. But Dr. Zimmerman's letters proved too specific to dismiss. Elena, listening quietly, suddenly spoke with perfect clarity. "The mirror woman isn't gone. She's me, the part of me that stayed clear, headed while the drugs clouded everything else. She helped me remember what I'd learned but couldn't access consciously." Within days of stopping the medicines, Elena's symptoms vanished. Her testimony, combined with documents, Sarah's account, and eventually Dr. Zimmerman's cooperation, built an airtight case. Margaret's exhumed remains showed toxic traces. Her death was ruled homicide. The scandal exposed a wider network of men using similar tactics to silence inconvenient women. Jeremiah was convicted on all counts: murder, attempted murder, conspiracy, fraud, and sentenced to hang in December 1835. Elena recovered fully, remarried, and lived a long life, speaking publicly only at trial. The mansion was sold, passages sealed, mirrors removed. The case spurred legal reforms for asylum commitments and women's medical rights. Dr. Henley dedicated his career to toxicology and advocacy for female patients. The Hartwell affair forced society to confront how readily women's truthful warnings could be labeled madness. Today, a small park marks the site, with a 1985 plaque honoring Margaret Elena and all victims of medical abuse. This story reminds us how easily trust and authority can be weaponized against the vulnerable, and how vital it is to listen when someone says their reality doesn't match what others demand they accept. What do you make of this case? Do you think every secret was uncovered, or could other victims have gone unnoticed? Tell us in the comments. If you loved this dark tale, subscribe, turn on notifications, and share with fellow mystery fans. See you in the next one.